All right, ladies and gentlemen, I hope you're having a wonderful morning. It is April 3rd, 2025, the day after Liberation Day. We said this was going to be Response Day, and yeah, there was a big one. So long story short, if you weren't there on any of the watch list, the tariffs were a lot bigger than expected, and it happened in a very unexpected way. You had good low base rate, but when it came down to the details on reciprocals, there was a lot of big surprises. Long story short, you have everybody reacting to more reactions on tariffs than expected, and then also the retaliation comments and everybody talking and getting ready. So it's a very wild outcome. We still have a lot more. Unfortunately, like we talked about, yesterday was a big shot. We sent a lot out into the world, but now I think as we trade the market, every little update, those are going to start being your catalyst now, and we're going to start getting things back. But we are going to have a crazy day, even leading into tomorrow. Make no mistake, you have the non-farm. So whatever happens with this volatility, man, this is low-key only the beginning. Maybe it ends by Friday, but for now, I think history was made. You are living through either the biggest pump fake in all theatrics, or literally global trade might change forever, and now you're getting a repricing. So we have a lot to go over, baby. I hope you're ready for all. I know, look at Nike, Target, bro. Oh, my goodness. Oh, man. So, Chad Adonia, what's up, baby? Are you ready? Are you locked and loaded? Are you ready or not, baby? What up, Ansel? What up, Gus Gonzo? Zoraz, Mark, baby. Frankie, Jamal, winning loser, Shamos, Matthew, Mavis, Andros, yay. Dr. James Cash, baby. Good morning. What up, Monica? What up, Todd? How you doing, dystopian? El Chaparro, Ghost Pimples, baby. Dakota, Thoughts and Emotions, Benny Silverio, Brown Todd Crows, baby. You mad? Let's go, Canada. Oh, my goodness. Chris Saeed, Justin Canto, Nick G, baby. Ayush. What up, Deco? What up, Dave? What up, Randy? Oh, Godfather, Rocky Top, baby. Good morning. What up, Cisco? Chad, are you ready? I tell him there's going to be a lot of plays off the morning. It's either going to be cash open, rip, and then dump, or we're actually just going to rip or chop around. So it's going to be wild, bro. This is not going to be easy. I hope you woke up good, baby. What about that Twitch? Wang, Preforms, Danny V, Caesar, Slizzin, Dio, Normal or Normani, Rocky, Vivong, 333. Why is my Twitch slowing down? Dev Patel, Ramora, El Coyote, Robo Handtech, Pie Guy, and Blazing Bob, baby. Good morning. Good morning. So I hope you're feeling good, Chad. I hope you're ready. And now, here's Josh AI with the news. Good morning. Global stocks dive with the dollar as bonds rally. U.S. stock futures slumped and the dollar headed for its steepest drop in more than 2 years as President Donald Trump's bid to remake the World Trading Order threatened to undermine economic growth. Contracts for the S&P 500 plummeted 3.4%. Stocks linked to global trade bore the brunt in pre-market trading with apparel and shoemakers, including Nike Inc., Lululemon Athletica Inc., and Deckers Outdoor Corp., falling as much as 12% after hefty tariffs were imposed on Vietnam and other production hubs. Apple Inc. dropped 7.5%, while several big U.S. technology names, including Amazon.com Inc., Nvidia Corp., and Tesla Inc., all fell more than 5%. It was a similar picture in Europe, where consumer goods firms such as Adidas AG and Puma SE fell almost 10%. The Stoxx 600 index slipped 2.1%. Asian stocks posted heavy losses earlier, with Tokyo's Nikkei index losing almost 3%. Commodities were under pressure, with Brent crude futures down almost 5%. Trump's decision to slap a minimum 10% tariff on all exporters to the U.S. and additional duties for big trading partners, including China, Japan, and the European Union, marks a dramatic escalation of the trade war, with China and the EU pledging retaliation. Investors traders are snapping up haven assets, knocking 10-year Treasury yields to the lowest in more than 5 months. The yen and Swiss franc rallied while gold hit a new record high before the rally stalled. I don't think the equity market has priced in the worst-case scenario for tariffs, said Justin Onakusi, chief investment officer at wealth manager St. James's Place. There is a big risk here that the market starts to aggressively price in these current tariff rates and significant retaliation. The tariff announcements coming 2 months into Trump's presidency look set to deepen Wall Street's recent weakness, with equity strategists already trimming forecasts. Traders are bracing for what could be a grueling stretch of trade negotiations against an economic backdrop that shows signs of softening. The levies could shave as much as 1.5% off U.S. economic growth this year and add a similar amount to consumer inflation, according to Deutsche Bank, with several Federal Reserve officials warning recently of the potential impact on the economy. Traders are pricing the central bank to deliver 3/4-point interest rate cuts this year, starting July, and the concerns and the possibility of further equity market outflows weighed heavily on the greenback, which is now down more than 4% year to date. Given the dramatic nature of the moves, we are becoming increasingly concerned that the dollar is at risk of a broader confidence crisis, Deutsche Bank strategist George Saravelos wrote, citing a broader undermining of confidence in the U.S. economic outlook. Treasury markets also reflected the growth fears, with 10-year yields falling 4 basis points toward the psychologically key 4% mark. The moves rippled through bond markets worldwide, with 10-year yields in Germany and Britain down about 6 basis points, while Japanese and Australian borrowing costs dropped more than 10 basis points. Citigroup Incas strategists upgraded treasuries to overweight following Trump's announcement, noting the clear risk to U.S. growth. They also forecast the dollar would drop further versus the euro. Traders will seek clues on the state of the U.S. economy from upcoming data on weekly jobless claims and ISM services activity. If those numbers disappoint, the selling will get worse as recession fears surge, Tom Essay of the Sevens Report told clients. Trump's tariffs send shockwaves across global economy. President Donald Trump imposed the steepest American tariffs in a century as he steps up his campaign to reshape the global economy, sparking threats of retaliation and a sell-off in markets around the world. Trump announced Wednesday he will apply at least a 10% tariff on all exporters to the U.S., with even higher duties on some 60 nations to counter large trade imbalances with the U.S. That includes some of the country's biggest trading partners, such as China, which now faces a tariff of well above 50% on many goods, as well as the European Union, Japan, and Vietnam. VW and Mercedes answer Trump with price hikes, production shifts. Europe's automakers are raising prices and preparing to shift car production to the U.S. to try to protect themselves from President Donald Trump's tariffs. Volkswagen AG plans to add import fees to the sticker prices of its vehicles shipped into the U.S., indicating Trump's 25% auto duties will have an immediate effect on Europe's biggest car maker. Volvo Car AB and Mercedes-Benz Group AG are looking at expanding local output to sidestep the levies. Mercedes may need to shift output of a model to the U.S. to deal with the cost of the duties, the company's production chief Jorg Berzer said Thursday, declining to comment on which model may be moved to its factory in Tuscaloosa, Alabama. Senate unveils plan to fast-track tax cuts, debt limit hike. Senate Republicans unveiled a budget blueprint designed to fast-track a renewal of President Donald Trump's tax cuts and an increase to the nation's borrowing limit ahead of a planned vote on the resolution later this week. The Senate plan will allow for a $4 trillion extension of Trump's tax cuts and an additional $1.5 trillion in more tax reductions. The House plan called for $4.5 trillion in total cuts. Republicans say they are assuming that extending the expiring 2017 Trump tax cuts won't have any cost. Trump embraced the plan, saying at a White House ceremony on Wednesday that it has his complete and total support. Amazon adds 11th hour intrigue to TikTok acquisition drama days before an April 5th deadline for TikTok to find a buyer or get shut out of its biggest market. The list of potential outcomes for the video app got a lot longer Amazon.com Inc. became the latest big name to jump into the fray, submitting a bid to the White House to buy out a business once valued at $60 billion. Lesser-known AppLovin Corp is also reportedly seeking backing for its own takeover bid. The pair lengthen an already eclectic list of potential owners of the ByteDance Limited app at the nexus of U.S.-China tensions, from YouTube influencers to tech entrepreneurs and billionaire financiers. TikTok suitors hope to gain a slice of a Chinese-owned phenom that's displacing the likes of Facebook as a hot social media destination for American youths. It got so popular, Washington, worried about the potential to spy on users or shape public opinion, set in motion a legal assault that led to this Saturday's deadline for a seller ban deal. Top overnight news: Apple shares slump pre-market on the tariffs announcement despite efforts to insulate its supply chains. Other major tech stocks, including Nvidia, Meta, Tesla, and Alphabet, also declined. Nike, Adidas, and Puma plunged given their reliance on Vietnamese manufacturing. BBG, U.S. President Trump reiterated that tax cuts will be passed in one big, beautiful bill in Congress, while he added they need to get permanent tax cuts. U.S. President Trump posted on Truth Social that Speaker of the House Mike Johnson and Senate Majority Leader John Thune have been working tirelessly on taking the next step to pass the plan for our one big, beautiful bill, as it is known, as well as getting us closer to the debt extension necessary to continue our great work. The Senate budget plan gives us the tools that we need to get our shared priorities done, including certain permanent tax cuts, spending cuts, energy, historic investments in defense, border, and much more. We are going to cut spending and right-size the budget back to where it should be. The Senate plan has my complete and total support. Likewise, the House is working along the same lines. Every Republican House and Senate must unify. We need to pass it immediately. In the immediate aftermath of Trump's tariff announcement, confusion reigned even among some White House officials about what rate the approximately $440 billion in Chinese imports would face. Policy experts were perplexed too. Barron's Fed Governor Kugler said the latest data indicates progress towards the 2% inflation target may have stalled, and she supports keeping the current policy rate in place as long as upside risks to inflation continue, given stable activity and employment. Furthermore, she stated that inflation expectations have risen and upcoming policy changes hold upside risk, as well as noted that there may be reasons why tariffs have more prolonged effects. Goldman's bottom line on tariff announcements: the reciprocal tariff policy President Trump announced would impose a weighted average tariff rate of 18.3%, around 3 pp, higher than we expected. However, roughly 1/3 of total imports would be exempt, which reduces the impact to a 12.6 pp increase in the effective tariff rate. We estimate this and other tariffs announced year to date would raise the U.S. effective tariff rate by 18.8 pp. While we assume that negotiations with trading partners will lead to somewhat lower reciprocal rates than announced today, the prospect for escalation following retaliatory tariffs and a high probability of further sectoral tariffs suggests a risk that the U.S. effective tariff rate rises more than the 15 pp increase we assume in our economic forecast. China's Ministry of Commerce held a briefing at 3 p.m. today, just hours after U.S. President Donald Trump declared a trade war with the world. The action includes a further 34% tariffs on imports from China, raising American tariffs on China to 54%. In a statement on Thursday morning, the ministry accused the U.S. of typical unilateral bullying and vowed to take resolute countermeasures. It also said Beijing would urge Washington to remove the tariffs and solve disputes through dialogue. SMCI, China's Caixin Services PMI, came in ahead of expectations at 51.9, comma, up from 51.4 in Feb and above the consensus forecast of 51.5 WSJ. The BOJ's policy normalization course has been thrown into doubt because of the risk of a domestic recession spurred by U.S. tariffs, economists said. This was beyond our worst-case scenario. BBG, the EU has given itself a 4-week window to convince Trump to drop his 20% on the block, with retaliation ruled out before late April. FTD Senate votes 51-48 to reject Trump's Canadian tariffs as 4 Republicans, Collins, McConnell, Murkowski, and Paul, joined with the Dems. This vote is symbolic and won't have any actual impact on policy, but it does send a small message of displeasure to the White House. Politico. Good morning. There's more, baby. There is more. S&P futures are down 4% Thursday morning trading. NASDAQ futures down over 4 as well. Comes after U.S. equities finished higher on Wednesday, with the S&P up for a third straight session and once again reversing some earlier weakness. Mag 7 mostly higher, while financials and travel and leisure, some of the other standouts, healthcare and staples among the laggers. Treasury rallying with the curve bull steepening. Dollars down by 2%. Gold is down by 2.2. Bitcoin down by 5.6. And WTI is down by 6.4 amid growth worries and accelerating OPEC production increases. Global risk off on the back of a more erroneous than expected Trump tariff and threats of retaliation plays into ongoing ramp in stagflation fears, with the pricing piece a major complication for additional Fed easing. No notable reprieve from widespread de-risking in the recent weeks, with valuations still fairly demanding and risk to what has been fairly stable 25 consensus earnings estimate. Credibility concerns surrounding USTR calculation of reciprocal, another area of scrutiny following Wednesday's announcement. Trump 2.0 uncertainty dynamics linger, and a lot of headline volatility expected around negotiations and potential exemptions. Remind me about the calculation after. We'll talk about it. Weekly jobless claims printed below consensus, and we're down week over week, while continuing claims higher than forecast. Contrast, the Challenger layoff jumped to the highest level since May 2020, with focus on Doge cuts still to come this morning. February trade balance, final March PMI, and March ISM services. ISM services expected to slip to 53 from 53.5 earlier this week. ISM manufacturing unexpectedly fell back into contraction as well. Fed Jefferson at 12:30, Governor Waller at 2:30. Friday brings non-farms tomorrow, along with Chair Powell at 11:25. Not much on corporate news. Outsized focused on Washington. Bloomberg had another report on Microsoft canceling data center projects. Ford reportedly to announce discounts across multiple models. PCAR President CFO Harry Shippers to retire in early June. Conagra missed with organic growth weaker. LW is standout on their beat, helped by solid volume. Restoration, big post-earning decliner on weaker Q4, below consensus full-year guide. Outsized tariff exposure, excess inventory, and elevated leverage and negative free cash flow. MSM earnings beat, but revenue missed on lower ads. LSTR guided Q1 revenue midpoint to the prior range, but EPS adversely impacted by elevated claim cost. FC lowered full-year revenue and EBITDA guide, noting turbulent and uncertain economic business environment. Wow. There's more. Trump announces 10% baseline, higher reciprocals on specific countries. Tariff rate on China rises to 54%. De minimis exemption for China revoked. Canada and Mexico exempt from reciprocals due to existing duties and USMCA compliance. White House says new tariff based on trade imbalances calculated by Trump's team. Treasury Bessent does not rule out talks on tariff. Urges other countries against retaliating. Apple could see a 9% hit to gross margins if unable to fully pass on cost of new tariffs of China. Companies face new reality of tariffs, will be forced to adjust. My options are limited and painful to bottom lines. Major and Western consumer brands become collateral damage on U.S. tariffs on Vietnam and Indonesia. Auto tariff imports take effect. Volkswagen implement import fee on cars affected by 25% tariff. Steel, aluminum, and gold excluded from reciprocals. More exemptions could be expected to be detailed later. Canada plans countermeasures against U.S. tariffs. Republican senators oppose Trump tariff on Canada. China. EU von der Leyen vows retaliation as Trump slams 20% goods. France pushing for EU to hit U.S. tech companies in response. China vows countermeasures. Japan pushes for exemption. Korea wants negotiation. Trump auto tariffs will cover $600 billion worth of car and part imports annually, extending to PC imports. JP Morgan estimates a third of EM companies will be meaningfully impacted by tariffs. Australia's PM rules out reciprocals on U.S. goods to avoid economic downturn. Reciprocals fuel risk-off move in markets, flight to safety. Some strategists anticipate slowdown in trade and growth, while others view tariff as potential buying opportunity. Worries that long-term U.S. growth will fade could matter more of the U.S. dollar than the mechanical impacts of tariffs. China stocks experience milder decline. Yuan pairs losses following PBOC support. Banks weigh on Japan index as market pairs BOJ rate hike odds. Commodities from oil to industrial to grain sell off on global growth slowdown fears following tariff announcement. Trump reciprocals to have divergent effects on global economies. China PMI hits 3-month high as new orders pick up. Swiss inflation lower than expected. App loving Amazon put in deal for TikTok. White House to close deal on TikTok by Saturday. Amazon will launch satellite broadband projects, Project Cooper, this month, competing with Elon's Starlink. Wall Street urges companies to temper IPO valuations for better chance of successful deal amid spike in volatility. Stagflation risk from Trump complicates Fed effect. Senate unveils budget blueprint for fast track of rate cuts. Bessa indicates federal government at risk of running out of room to make good on payments on time. Musk denies Trump wants him out of Doge. Swing seat fears hit GOP ahead of 2026. And Trump's approval rating drops, and allies propose European reassurance for Ukraine peace deal and strive for unity amidst Trump's disruptions. Yeah, bro, we're behind. There's so many headlines today. There's just, I hope you see why. So here's the pre-market movers. I have 4 pages. It's all just algo generated. Really, literally every name that is up just because it's a value staple stock. That's it. So no other reasoning there. OSARH, 80 million common stock agreement. Trading lower. Shop, they're down on the de minimis exception. Oh, I forgot. They're going to get outsized from there. I'm going to write that down, but I already have a different list. But then watch VRT, PH, Wolf Research downgrade, Apollo, they're down on investment Q1 update, Amazon down 6 on de minimis, Pinduoduo down 6 on de minimis, Morgan Stanley upgraded Block, they're down by 4, RXST down 27, bad earnings, SRPT, Roche requested temporary hold on studies, PVH down 5, accelerated buyback, CRL from FDA, ALDX is down 20, apparel names down on tariff exposure, shoe-related companies lead the lags as well, discount department stores weak, and crypto, China, and crypto, oil and energy, and then gold and silver. Ta-da! Yeah, bro, that's a lot. It's a lot, baby. So I hope you're feeling good. I hope you're feeling blessed. But it's game time, man. Yes, even gold is down. And that's something I told you guys. You know, when we actually get real risk off, everything sells off. So make no mistake. I hope you watch the watch list because at some point today, I feel like we're going to pull apart and you will watch a very clear rotation. But before we do any of that, it's really important, guys, you know, because Liberation Day, like I said, what does it really mean, bro? You know what I'm saying? We use all these terms. I use a lot of military terms. I've explained stuff, but like, come on, think about it. Without our veterans, without the people that came before us, none of us would be this arrogant. And we would, honestly, we take a lot of things for granted. So that's why every morning, man, it is our duty, and it's absolutely the bare minimum and least we could do is appreciate those who came before us. And I'm talking about the veterans of the United States of America, baby. So on behalf of the cult, I got a big shout out, man. Active service, past service, anybody who has served this country, even the families, bro. Thank you for everything you have given. I know it was not easy, and every single day we get to enjoy these benefits for our freedom in our great country. So thank you, thank you, thank you. If anybody should be getting a long-term and a property, it should be you, veterans. So let us help. And if you don't serve, man, I really hope you bring this to real life and show some love, baby. But veterans, families, thank you, and God bless every single one of you. I love you, and don't you ever forget that, okay? you love, baby. And big shout out to anybody else out there giving back to their local communities. Doctors, nurses, teachers, firefighters, police officers, the janitors, the coaches, the garbage men, anybody making their community run. God bless you and thank you, baby. But ladies and gentlemen, please rise. Place your right hand over your heart. Say it with me. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all, baby. Ah. Send it to Jets! Oh, it's game time, baby. Ah. Horn. Let's go. Oh, man. Are you ready? Oh, and then are you ready? I'm going to tell you. Maybe I should wait till everybody gets in there. Okay? But yeah, plays-wise, you got to either take profits right at open, and then you'll get mad if it dumps further, or you hold it and then don't get mad if it bounces. Other than that, though, winners and losers. Let everybody freak out. Let everybody overreact. And honestly, I don't even know if it is an overreaction. Like I'm telling you yesterday, historically, this was big, bro. This was a big event, potentially, if it doesn't change from here. But when it's all said and done, winners and losers is kind of getting obvious. Take note, there's names that are still green right now, all right? So keep that in mind. But Chattadonia, it's time we move on over. Time to go to Gen Pop. Look, they're freaking out, man. Look, they're all joining now. They're like, where's Josh? Yeah, bro. So I'll see you there, bro. I will see you in Gen Pop. And thank you for always supporting, baby. I love you. And God bless America. And thank you to the veterans. Make your place free, baby. Amen. Tell them. Tell them, girl. Woo! Let's go, baby. All right, man. Let's get it. And thank you to the veterans, for real. It's pointless if we don't got that love, man. We wouldn't be here without them. I love y'all, baby. Peace.